Hey YouTube, this is Firewizard23 here to do another book review. This is my review of Stormbreaker by Anthony Horowitz, the first book in the Alex Rider series. I actually have just started reading these books, and I think I'll just review them as I go along. I found this in the Barnes & Noble's used section. I found this for a buck. I found this for $1. I found the Puffin release of this book, and I read it. Um, I'm intrigued. My very first gut reaction is I am intrigued. I have a couple complaints about the narrative. Spoilers. I have a couple complaints about the narrative that I argue that Alex is not. We really do not get into very deep emotion with our main character, Alex. Here's what happened. Alex is the nephew of a gentleman named Ian Ryder, and Ian is killed through what is originally reported as an accident to him, and it turns out that is not true. His father was actually assassinated. His uncle was actually assassinated. And Alex is described as 14, very well built for a 14-year-old. He's like the most blank slate character. He really is. The only thing I really have to give this writer a knock for, Alex. I don't think Alex is a very compelling character. That's my only real complaint, and I think it's similar to the Harry Potter syndrome. You are to imbibe yourself onto him. You're not to actually make any dimensionality of Alex himself. Alex doesn't really seem to have a lot of personality to what he does. It's just, I've been thrust into this adventure. Let's go for it. So, bada bing, bada boom. One thing leads to another. Alex finds out that his uncle was actually a spy for the British government, the MI6. MI6, M16, I think it's MI6. It's like a super secret agency for Britain. I don't know. I apologize to my British listeners. I do not know if that's an actual British Secret Service agency or if that's just something the book made up for its own purposes. It just kind of made it up. But it turns out that Ian Ryder's last thing was to investigate something called the Stormbreaker, and Alex had heard of the Stormbreaker, and what it is, it's an advanced computer being released by a gentleman who currently lives in Britain. And MI6 is interested in whether or not this guy's on the level, because what he's doing is making a donation of all these Stormbreaker computers to every school in Britain, which is a hell of a gift. Holy shit. So they're kind of like, something seems a little odd here. Why would someone do that? This is a gift beyond a gift. And this is not. This is like Microsoft giving a brand new dude. You're getting a Dell. Like giving a brand new computer to every single high school and middle school and elementary school in the United States. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Like, so that's a huge, amazing gift. Just why would one person do this? So they have been investigating him, and there's like the staunch older gentleman who runs the MI6, and there's this woman who's always sucking peppermints. I can't remember her name right now. And there's this. He's got like the guy giving him invention, like some gadgets and stuff for him to use. He gets like a Game Boy that can look through walls and has like an explosive cartridge and a translation cartridge. And he gets he gets a yo-yo with a nylon cord that like he can like hold like 200 pounds, and he gets something else. I can't remember what it is, but he uses these. Oh, he gets a lip balm. He gets a lip balm, but it's for it looks like it's like an acne cream, but he can use it to actually dissolve metal surfaces. It's like a really caustic material, but it's disguised as like acne cream. So he goes to this guy's house, and it seems like he's really, really nice, but he does have like his own private army in his house. So it's like, okay, what the hell's going on? And it turns out the Stormbreakers are all. He follows the breadcrumb trail of his uncle, because he realizes his uncle wasn't doing things because he actually sits in the same room as his uncle. He's there incognito. They got him in there because there was like a contest where some kid was going to be able to play the first Stormbreaker, use the first Stormbreaker computer, and they swapped it for Alex. You're just going to pretend to be this kid. And they sent the other kid off to like Disneyland or something like that, just to get him out of the way. And he finds a trail of breadcrumbs left by his uncle, where he was kind of putting this together. Like he was like researching viruses and stuff, and Alex thinks it's about computer viruses. And he finds this trail inside a mine shaft, and he finds this like secret area underneath where they're putting the Stormbreakers together, but they're putting something in it, and he can't figure out what it is. And I will give credit, the narrative actually puts this together pretty well, where you can't really. this story, the narrative is actually constructed pretty well, where you're kind of putting all the pieces together and you kind of see it, and it's at the moment when unfortunately Alex's cover is blown that we do discover the truth that all the Stormbreaker computers, the guy who is releasing all the giving all these Stormbreakers, he used to go to school in Britain with the prime minister, with the person who is now the current prime minister of Britain, as per the story's narrative. And he is like really, really jealous of the treatment he received as a kid, and so he wants to get revenge on all the school children. What he has done is he's put a nasty chemical virus into the computers that when the prime minister presses the button at this conference to turn them all on, it is going to basically, it's going to cause this genocide of all these British children. Damn. And the only reason he's doing this is because he ain't going to go in and shoot up no school because he got bullied. No, he's going to kill all the kids in all the schools. Damn. This guy's hardcore. Alex, it's a pretty, I give credit. What happens to Alex Rider? You could believe a secret spy who is 14 years old, this could happen. You would believe this could happen. They kind of push, maybe there's a little bit of a push of disbelief, like how many times can a person thwart danger and get out of it? But then again, that's of any spy novel, any James Bond. You get to a point where you're like, okay, you just kind of have to go with it. He's going to find the way to get out of something. That's just how it is. Which I give it credit for this first book, and I'm still reading. Nobody spoil it for me. Nobody spoil it. But I'm hoping that, because I'm almost actually through the second book as I'm recording this, I'm hoping that we keep developing Alex himself, his relationship to the MI6, and the overarching things that happen to him throughout the book. There's 9 books in the series. Then the overarching things that happen in these 9 books, because I'm interested to see how this develops. At the very end of it, he actually crashes via parachute. He crashed because he went to like training for like the British SEALs or something like that. He went to their training camp for like 2 weeks, doing all the stuff that the adults do, with some exceptions because he's 14 years old. But he developed these budding relationships with some of these guys, and they're like, "Oh, I really would like to work with you again," because they realize, like, kid's 14, but he's got balls. They kind of acknowledge, okay, this kid's gonna do what he's got to do, and he uses that yo-yo thing I mentioned. He shoots a harpoon into like this last helicopter that's delivering a Stormbreaker. He gets hoisted up into this helicopter. He hijacks it. He forces the guy to bring him, which the guy's like a classic James Bond. Was it Mr. Grin? He's got think of the Joker, like he's got those cuts like at the side of his lips to make him look like he's this huge smile. But he forces him to like fly him to where the Prime Minister is activating it. He jumps out with a parachute. He smashes through the middle of this conference just as the guy was going to press the button, and he starts just opening fire to blow the computer out of the way so the master control can't be activated. He ends up shooting the Prime Minister 2 times, as well as the bad guy, who they know is a bad guy now, and he blows the computer up. And at the end of it, the directors of MI6 are like, other than the fact that you shot the Prime Minister, not a bad job. Thankfully, all the MI6 people were there too, and they're like, because like all these security people swarmed in because he's like hanging by his parachute threads from the ceiling, and they're like, hold your fire, don't shoot. But at the very end of it, they're just gonna send him home, send him back to school, and like, we'll certainly contact you if we need you again. And then the bad guy who actually got away because he ran away from the thing when he realized like, oh crap, I've been exposed. He's actually like, he pulls up a taxi to take Alex home. Alex pulls up a taxi, and he doesn't realize that it's the guy in the driver's seat. He's like, you make one move and I'll kill you. Oh no, he's screwed. And he takes him like to the top helipad where he's like, I'm going to leave the country, but first I'm going to kill you, Alex Rider. And then, and he like falls down. And it turns out another guy walks up, and it's been set up through the book, but this is the guy who killed Ian Rider. Is the guy who killed his uncle. And Alex, nowhere. I mean, it was something that the adult characters, we keep switching perspectives in this book. It was something that the adult characters talked about, that they knew that Yasuf, I can't remember the guy's name, but they knew that he was involved in this and that he was the one who killed Ian Rider. They know that was true. And they were debating whether or not to even tell Alex, and they ended up did tell him that that was true. And At no point did Alex ever say he wanted like blood revenge against him for that. Like, I'm gonna kill you. At no point did Alex that ever even enter his back thought of the story. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Alex says this on the roof, like, one day I'll kill you. And I just didn't like that. But I like what the guy responds to him by saying, because he said, I was following orders, and he also says, don't kill, it's not for kids. Or something to that equivalent. It was one of those really profound statements. You get out of a character who obviously had probably has done so many times that it's become such he doesn't really even think about the emotional aspect of it anymore. And that's why I'm hoping as this series goes on that I hope we get more development out of Alex. My only problem with him in this first book is that he's such a blank slate. I feel like Alex is such a blank slate. And it's interesting. We established that he goes to school and stuff, and even in the second book, we never established any of the characters. We never established like any of his friends. Like, we have no acknowledgement of where he sits in his social hierarchies, what kind of a character he is. We just kind of get the idea that he's this very alpha male kind of 14-year-old. And it makes him, I think, very uninteresting as a character. But again, I think we're supposed to kind of impose ourselves upon that as a reader. But otherwise, I enjoyed the book. I got through Stormbreaker very quickly. It's a very light read. None of these books are heavy reads. I can see that very quickly. I really, the age group that Anthony Horowitz was shooting for here, that they're not heavy reads by any means. I got commented at work. I'm reading the second book, and I'm almost through it. And I started it like a day ago. Like, I'm actually almost through it. But yeah, that's Stormbreaker by Anthony Horowitz. I highly recommend picking it up. This is Firewizard23. Take care and bye-bye for now, everybody.